Welcome back to Meditating with Vidyamala. What we're going to do today is to look directly at ways to change our relationship to our thinking processes. Many of us completely identify with our thoughts. We believe all our thoughts, we get carried away by all our thoughts, we get bossed about by our thoughts. But with meditation, with mindfulness, we can learn to see our thoughts in a completely different way. If you like, we can learn to look at our thoughts rather than from our thoughts. It's as if awareness is like a clear blue sky, and our thoughts are like clouds passing across the sky. And we can learn to let them come and to let them go. So if you like, we're shifting our perspective to that of awareness itself, rather than being completely identified with these passing clouds. So essentially, we're cultivating perspective. And this is an amazing quality that can completely change our experience of life. So we're living life with a broad perspective, a stable perspective, rather than being thrown around, hurled about by the contents of our minds. Another way we can talk about this is we're relating to thoughts as mental events flowing through the mind, flowing through our awareness. And experiencing our thoughts as mental events is very different from being completely identified with our thoughts. So there's various images you can use. I've already mentioned clouds passing across the sky. Another image is, imagine it's the autumn and you're standing by a stream, and your thoughts are like leaves floating down the stream. And you just let them float by. You don't try to jump on the leaves, which of course will be a foolish thing to do with autumn leaves. But that's the kind of thing we do when we're identifying completely with our thinking processes. Another image is to imagine you're at the arrival part of an airport and you're collecting your luggage. And you've got all the suitcases going round and round on the conveyor belt. And each suitcase represents a thought. So you just let it pass by. You don't climb on the conveyor belt and get carried away with all the suitcases. So what we're going to do now is a period of practice together, a breathing anchor practice, where we're going to use the breath and the body as an anchor for the mind. And we're going to practice being aware of our thinking processes, but relating to them as mental events flowing through the mind, rather than something to get carried away by. So we'll be aware of our thinking processes and we'll change our perspective. So to begin with, allowing the weight to settle down into the position you've chosen for this meditation practice. It's ideal to sit if you can, but if this is really uncomfortable, then by all means lie down or even stand. And giving the whole weight of the body up to gravity. Seeing if you can really settle down into this position and to allow the floor to support you. And dropping your awareness deep in the body. And feeling the way the body swells a little bit on the in-breath and subsides a little bit on the out-breath. Seeing if you can rest your awareness inside these movements and sensations deep in the body, in the belly, even in the lower back, in the sides of the body. So we're starting the meditation with this sense of stability, and we're allowing breathing low in the body to be a foundation, an anchor for the mind. Breathing in and breathing out, again and again and again. And your awareness is receptive, so you're not altering the breath, you're not interfering with the breath. You're just resting awareness inside natural breathing. And noticing what thoughts are passing through the mind. Maybe you're running into the future. Maybe you're holding on to the past. Maybe you've got doubt. Why am I doing this? What a waste of time. That's just a thought. And seeing if you can let the thoughts pass through the mind like clouds passing across a sky, like leaves floating down a stream, like suitcases on a conveyor belt at the airport. Come into the mind, pass across the mind and leave the mind. Looking at your thoughts rather than from your thoughts. You'll probably find you get carried away, you jump on your thoughts and you allow your mind to get swept away. That's perfectly normal. But every time you notice this has happened is a moment of success in the practice, a moment of awareness. And then we have a choice. We can let go of being identified with that mental event and shift our awareness back inside, breathing in the body. And we do this again and again and again. This is the training. It's very important that you don't have a view that you shouldn't think. Minds like to think, it's what they do. So meditation is more about changing our relationship to thinking than suppressing thinking. This is a very, very important point. Letting the thoughts come, letting the thoughts go. Always allowing awareness, the mind, to drop back inside, breathing deep in the body. As a home base, as a foundation, as an anchor. Seeing if you can be interested in the sensations and movements of breathing in the body. So it's an interesting place to come back to. And if you find you've been completely carried away by thoughts through the whole practice, then please don't give yourself a hard time. This is very common. Often happens, but knowing this is what has happened is awareness. So you've got awareness, you know what your mind does, you're learning. And then every time you make a little choice to let go of being identified with the content of the mind, to come back to breathing in the body, you're building, you're developing a new default setting, a new habit. And this is a very good thing. So congratulating yourself, even if you've only done it once, through this whole meditation. That's one moment of victory, one moment of success. Continuing to meditate for your chosen period of time. And when it comes time to end, taking time to transition out of the practice into the next activity of your day. Moving the body gently, taking some deeper breaths perhaps, stretching perhaps. And taking the simple teaching of looking at your thoughts rather than from your thoughts into the rest of your day. And I look forward to meditating with you tomorrow.